The story of Sainte Therese. Today, we're sharing the story of a young woman whose simple life left an extraordinary mark on the world. Meet Sainte Thérèse of Lisieux, also known as the Little Flower. Her story isn't about dramatic miracles or grand adventures. Instead, it's about finding beauty in the small things and loving with your whole heart. Thérèse was born in 1873 in a small town called Alençon, France. She was the youngest of 9 children in a deeply loving and devout Catholic family. But life wasn't easy. By the time Thérèse was just 4 years old, she had already lost her mother to illness. This tragedy left her heartbroken and in need of comfort. She turned to her father and sisters, who surrounded her with care. Even as a child, Thérèse was sensitive and full of emotion. One day, while gazing at the stars, she felt an overwhelming longing to be close to God. She didn't know exactly how, but she sensed that her life would have a special purpose. As Thérèse grew up, she faced struggles many of us can relate to: fears, doubts, and feelings of being too small to make a difference. She often felt like she wasn't strong or talented enough to do big things for God. But even in her weakness, she discovered something extraordinary. God didn't need her to be perfect. All he wanted was her love. When Thérèse was just 15 years old, she felt a calling to join the Carmelite convent in Lisieux, where her older sisters had already gone. This was no easy task. Most convents didn't allow girls so young, but Thérèse was determined. She even traveled to Rome to ask the Pope for special permission. Her persistence paid off, and she entered the convent soon after. Life in the convent wasn't glamorous. It was filled with daily chores, prayer, and quiet reflection. For Thérèse, this was the perfect place to grow closer to God. She didn't do anything flashy or extraordinary. Instead, she focused on doing small things with great love. Whether it was sweeping the floor or smiling at someone who annoyed her, she saw these little acts as ways to show God her devotion. Thérèse called this her little way, a path of simplicity and humility. She believed that anyone, no matter how ordinary, could become holy by offering up their daily tasks and struggles to God with love. As Thérèse grew older, her health began to decline. She developed tuberculosis, a serious illness that caused her great pain. But even in her suffering, she stayed joyful and hopeful. She wrote down her thoughts in a journal, which later became a famous book called The Story of a Soul. In it, she shared her little way and encouraged people to trust God like a child trusts their parent. Thérèse passed away in 1897 at the young age of 24. But her story didn't end there. After her death, people began to read her writings and were deeply inspired by her message of love and simplicity. Miracles were even reported by those who prayed to her for help. In 1925, she was declared a saint, and today she is one of the most beloved saints in the Catholic Church. Thérèse once said, "What matters in life is not great deeds, but great love." Her little way teaches us that we don't need to do extraordinary things to live a meaningful life. Instead, We can find holiness in the small, everyday moments, through kindness, patience, and love. So, as you go about your day, remember Sainte Therese and her little way. Even the tiniest acts of love can make a big difference. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, may you find beauty in the little things.